I need to wonder if these are all just like relatives, or if these are, you know, their kids when they were growing up, or if it was them. Alright, hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today Sonny and I are inside of an abandoned house that I don't really know too much about, but I'm hoping that as we make our way through and kind of uncover some of the cool little things that have been left behind, we can get a better idea of exactly what happened. So with that being said, I'm ready to just get right on into it, so let's make our way around and see what we can find. So I am starting off in the kitchen, and this is the general setup. This gives me a lot of like grandma house feel, like someone older was probably living here. I'm not sure exactly, like I said, you know, before what happened here, and we might be able to get a better idea the more we look around and kind of piece together pieces of whatever was left here, because sometimes that'll give us a good idea of what kind of person was here. Like right off the bat I'm seeing like some religious things, so maybe this was like Christian or Catholic. None of this also too makes me think grandma. She got those candies in the jar. I don't want to open it because I feel like who knows what kind of creepy crawlies are laying around here. This place also does have like a lot of almost like a hoarder feel, which is kind of common in older folks because they aren't really able to take care of their space anymore. Who knows, maybe they're still around and they just moved to a nursing home or something and they just left this home behind and someone owns it but just didn't care to maintain it. I'm gonna check and see if there's anything inside the fridge. There's a little something. They got mustard, grape jelly, and a lot of leftover soda and jello. And a lot of gunk too. I'm gonna close that. Oof, kind of smells gross. And in the freezer, there's like these little figurine type things. Again, more stuff that like, you know, adds to that grandma feel, like someone, you know, who's like keeping all these knickknacks in their house. Don't know why they're in here. Someone probably thought it was funny, but I feel like I'm getting more of a feel of like who the person was who lived here. Kind of just more and more about all the things you're seeing. This is definitely, I don't know, it gives me a feel of like just some older lady. Loved to collect stuff, kind of kept at home to herself. I wonder where she is now. Even like the curtains and the cabinets, all, again, it all gives that same vibe of like kind of being a little dated. Like some of the boxes I was seeing in the cabinets are like, get a little closer, but ooh, sorry, that's my fault. They have like, you know, this older style packaging to them. And again, like the plates are still left, the old glasses are still left. I don't know this curtain even too, like I said, it's just like this certain vibe. Like not just anyone decorates their house like this anymore. And also looking at all of these appliances too, again, it just adds to that more dated feel. Like you can just tell that this stuff has been sitting around for a while. Like, you know, you bought this way back when and, you know, it just never broke, so you never fixed it kind of type of deal. Just see the design. Definitely very different from like the chrome we have like plastered everywhere nowadays. Interestingly too, and I'm not sure if this was something more common in like, again, these older houses, but they decided to have the automatic washer, like the clothing washer in the kitchen. And there's no dryer, at least that I see. So maybe they, you know, did it old school and hung up things outside. There's like a lot of like yard space here. So I feel like, I don't know, it fits that vibe to me, that feel of like, oh, we're gonna go out here, you know, like an elderly, like 50, 60-year-old couple, like hanging their laundry with like the clothespins. It just makes me think of that. And here's kind of that main little section that, you know, you use your kitchen for, kind of sitting down, having coffee and, you know, reading the paper after, you know, you're waking up for the morning before you're getting into work, waiting for your toast to pop out of the toaster while you let some of the natural light come in and listen to the birds chirp. You can actually hear them outside right now. It actually seems really, really peaceful and like a very nice space to have. Again, more of like a retro feel. I don't know why this specific setup gives me like diner vibes. The way that the table's like wavy and the patterns in the chairs. Definitely a more unique design for sure. can see the paper is dated from 1977. So they definitely were hanging on to this stuff for a while, or maybe they were in this home for a very long time and they were the type to hang on to these papers. So this is a cool little section, the design, you know, they had for the stove area and all the oven mitts they had kept. There's definitely some different designs. They still even have, like, you know, their old tea kettle and some of the little pots and things that they would use, little saucepans. And same thing, you know, with this oven too is very, very dated. I've never seen this company that like makes this brand. You know, there's even stuff up here that like looks like it's been sitting here forever. So right here is the entranceway that goes into the next room, and I thought it was cool that I found this old picture. Let me see if I can get a better look at it. You can see an older man, maybe if it was like a woman here that was also an older man, her husband, or who knows, but he's sitting there on the couch. That's the wall, and you can see that it matches up perfectly actually to this room. So that is like super eerie. It's actually the same couch too if you look. Yeah, that is 100% the same couch. That is really weird. So here's that couch a little bit up close and personal. It just feels very weird that, like, you know, like at whatever point that photo was taken, like that one moment, it could, you know, that was the space he was just in. He was right there. And also just seeing, you know, like this knitted blanket and this old, like, you know, dial-up phone. All adds to that feel again. Like I said, grandma's house, 100%. I almost wonder too, like, because there's this photo here, it's a wedding photo. And you can see, so, you know, a young man, or a young woman, really pretty dress, you know, very typical for the era. And you have to wonder, was it, you know, that older man who was on the couch, is that him when he was younger? And, you know, he was living here with his wife maybe. And this is just like, you know, one of their happy memories that they get to look over when they're sitting on that couch watching TV and remember like this memory, you know, the day they got married. And I noticed this was actually tucked right up on one of the little kind of like cabinets in this living room, but it says zucchini bread, and it's actually a recipe for zucchini bread. It'd be so funny. I feel like, you know, one of these days I should take one of these recipes and try it at home and just see, you know, call it abandoned building recipes with Urbex Muse. That's just so interesting, you know? Maybe this is where the grandma's secrets hide, guys. You gotta go into abandoned buildings, and that's where you're gonna find the greatest recipes. And of course we got even more kind of like relics, religious related themed items, which again makes me think more that this was like either like, you know, Christian household, Catholic, something, you know, to that effect, that there was, you know, a religious element here, which again is very much, you know, more common in, I feel like, the elderly. I feel like there was a lot different of like a value system back in the day, and I think religion was a big part of that. And so maybe that's kind of like another hint as to like what kind of people were living here, what kind of lives they were living, and their morals and their values, all things that I find super fascinating and trying to get a better idea and connect with who they were, you know, especially when, you know, walking through their home and like the most intimate part of their lives was here. This was, you know, this was their space. And of course, right underneath it, we have this really amazing TV. I am a sucker for finding old TVs. I'm gonna try and get a little closer and just look at some of these dials. It says a Zenith. If you guys hear me knocking around upstairs, guys, that is Sonny. We kind of split off in this house, so don't get too bugged out if you're hearing anything. But you can see hue, color commander, AFC, on off, volume. So that's so cool that you'd have to have actually come up here and, you know, use these dials to turn on this TV and, you know, play around with it. It's definitely something different, but I'll give you guys a more overall view of it. But no, that's really freaking cool. And just to further my point on the old tech stuff, that's right down here, I believe is a older style vacuum. There's also another one right here, and this might be a little bit more, I mean, how relative is modern when you're looking at something like this, but I don't even know. It doesn't even say like a make or a model. I always like to look for those so I can look them up later and kind of figure out what era they're from, but yeah, definitely something really dated. This is not anything recent at all. I think Okay guys, a lot of the rest of this floor is very like pretty much hoarder deal, as you can hear as I'm like making a bunch of noise. I think we're just gonna make our way right upstairs. It's just like right through this way. There's a little, oh my gosh. I really try not to break anything, but sometimes it's really hard not to when there's stuff all over the ground. But we're gonna take our way upstairs and see what's going on up here. So I just made my way up, as you guys can see, and there's a lot of stuff all over the ground. This is like just very chaotic energy right here. I think there's a few rooms up here that Sonny saw. He said were interesting. And the rest are kind of just jam-packed with a lot of stuff. So I think I'm gonna go into this one right here because it seems a little bit more cleared up. And just like a makeshift like type bed with like wheels. It's hard to tell when there's so much stuff all over it. But this is actually super cool. It looks like there's more wedding photos similar to the ones when we were downstairs. You can tell it's like the same people. The guy and the wife. I feel like it was probably the people who lived here, to be honest. It has to be. So I pulled a few more out because there's a lot scattered through here. I just wanted to see a few more. And so this is another one of them together. And there's also this little like album. You can see it's like a guy. And also I was flipping through and I saw it looks like the same woman and like she had maybe like her first kid. Maybe this is like after the wedding and they were starting their family together. Yeah. I don't know for sure if this is the same house, to be honest. I don't think it is. Maybe they moved here later on when they were getting a little bit older. But yeah, you can tell for sure these are definitely the same people. That is so cool to see. That is wild to get that image of them. And to see like, you know, all of these photos in general. I always love old photos, black and white photos. I need to wonder if these are all just like relatives or if these are, you know, their kids when they were growing up or if it was them. I don't know. It's hard to tell, you know, you might not ever know. There's nothing written on the backs of a lot of these. Some people, you know, write dates or something. There's nothing really to be said about these. It's hard to figure it out. And in the adjoining room, we have this bed with a very unique knitted blanket. Definitely like a homemade kind of feel. And you just wonder, there's like all these random things left here, like these older style like suitcases, older style like crutches. Fits the same theme, like I said, downstairs, that maybe they just accumulated a lot of things from earlier decades and just never got rid of it. And so, you know, their home has that very, you know, old feel to it, which, I mean, I like it. It reflects the people who were here and their experiences and what their lives felt like. And so it's just weird to see this bed and imagine, you know, that this was a space that they used to be in all the time. You know, same thing for seeing that guy in that photo on that couch, just to know that there could be, you know, those moments in time that someone was occupying this space and now I'm just standing here and like, it just feels so like weird in a way that no one would imagine it being like this. That, you know, this house would just be sitting here abandoned. Okay guys, honestly, the rest of these rooms are just stuffed to the brim with like the most random things. It would be really hard for me to sift through it and also probably not that easy either to like walk through it all. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually head back downstairs and find Sonny and then honestly just get the heck on out of here. Okay guys, so I found Sonny and he was actually hauling this thing around. You wanna tell me?
Well, I was doing some exploring and I walked down this hallway, but I noticed this big thing in the corner. And you could see the back of it. I saw a little label. And I'm going, what the heck could this be? And the label said Zenith. I immediately thought, that's a Zenith TV. This has to be another TV. I moved this stuff off top and I brought it over here.
And there it is. Another really cool old TV.
Definitely an older model than this one. You can tell by the buttons and stuff.
Yeah, maybe like they put this one aside and they were like, we got a new TV, but they just never bothered to move it out.
Yeah, so it's cool. I moved it for any other explorers, you know, because I know people like to come and set up shots and pictures, but I thought this would be cool. Other people would appreciate it, so
yeah, for sure.
I didn't mind moving it. It was awesome. I wanted to see it as well, but definitely a cool find.
And other than that, pretty much, guys, that is about the end of the Explorer. A little bit smaller of a Explorer, I guess, because it's a house. You know, it's easy to go through these places.
Awesome
but it was it was definitely jam-packed with some cool finds. Especially, you know, the old TVs are always my favorite. Any old antique type stuff is pretty sweet. So yeah, with that being said, I think Sonny and I are going to kind of finish up a few things and head on out of here. So I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll catch ya in the next one. Peace.